Good day today. My name is Don Miguel Cummings, and I'm going to be talking to you about a case that I seen on court TV that troubled me very much and made me very sad on the inside, and it hurt me really bad when I seen this case. Let me tell you a little bit about myself briefly. I myself was a victim of child abuse, extreme child abuse, and within the first 10 years of my life, I almost had my life taken a couple of times, and I witnessed well, I didn't witness, but my foster brother was killed in the foster home, one of the foster homes that I was in. So I was a victim of child abuse for the first 10 years, severe child abuse and severe beatings. And so I can identify with when it comes to children that are being abused, and the rage and the anger that they can have within themselves as they grow to be adults. I myself didn't take a bad route. Luckily, like I said, I was able to differentiate things, and basically I was able to accept, the situation and what happened to me, and I knew it would be wrong to take those feelings of rage out on innocent people, and I had to find a way to deal with those issues. And as a child, it does still affect. As an adult, I mean, it still does affect me. It still does hurt me because there was years of my childhood that I can't get back. And the thing is, it's just hard to move on in a lot of times in my life because there wasn't a stable foundation. And there's a lot of scars, a lot of depression, that I have had to endure. But it goes back to to this case with the Colleen Ritzer case and the case with Philip Chism. And the point that Philip Chism, and how they tried to argue that he had a mental illness, and that he blamed his childhood and his past for his issues. And I want to say this. Be not mistaken. Philip Chisholm is basically pure evil. It has nothing to do with a mental illness. It has nothing to do with social flaw, or it has nothing to do with a handicap. Watching through the trial, when I watched this young man, he showed no emotion, and he was basically like stone, like ice. And it's sad to see a child can develop that much hatred inside of him at that age, because a child doesn't know much about life. And I know for a fact that he hasn't suffered brutality or abuse. In Philip Chisholm's case, what I see is happen is his mom is a little bit more timid, and she's really not much of an authoritarian. And she's not authoritative as well. I think the mom endured a lot of hardship and abuse from the husband. I believe the husband was very dominating, and I believe Philip Chisholm seen that. I believe in probably earlier in his childhood, he probably used aggression and intimidation or through temper tantrums to get his way with his mother. And the worst mistake that she probably could have made was to give in to that, because that in itself teaches a dangerous method, that he can use hostility in a way to get, what he wants, or to get his way. As you can see what he did when he followed Colleen Ritzer. See, Colleen Ritzer was a dedicated teacher. And by psychology, a lot of us were creatures of habit. Colleen Ritzer was very organized. And so her being very organized, she basically kept us from what I can assess, and, psychologically, she basically kept a set of, she kept things organized, and she kept a timetable of the things that she did. Everything that she, did, as far as like her priorities, and like, eating lunch, probably going to the restroom, doing different things. She probably, did the same thing consistently. And she probably had a routine or a schedule. Well, she did have a schedule or routine that she didn't deviate from. And that's what Philip Chisholm was able to capitalize on. And he found the weakest point on how to get to her. I believe this took weeks of planning of what he did, and I believe he fantasized about it first and foremost. The reason why I say this is because, and this was never brought up, within the courts or the trial, when they showed the box cutter as evidence. I happened to, and if you read the cryptic message that he had on the box cutter, it said Phil's first tool, in a scary but cryptic way. If you look at that and you listen to that statement, and that statement that he wrote, Phil's first tool, In other words, this is something that he's planning on doing. It's not going to be his first, and wasn't going to be his last. This was going to be something that he was going to do and be ongoing, and this is what he had in his mindset. On the back of the box cutter, he puts on it, careful, don't cut your hand, Phil, or something to that degree. So that's like a very twisted sense of sick humor. And I think those are early signs. If people would have seen that box cutter, or something, the wording on that, I believe that if people would have seen how isolated he was, that's also a sign. Whenever you see students more that are off and not social, that, is something to be alarmed. And I don't think, it's healthy for students to be distant from people, to be quiet from people, especially if you have someone that's compassionate. If there's an individual or an adult who is compassionate and trying to reach out to a student, and that student finds some way where they're alienating themselves from that, or they're trying to move themselves or distance themselves from that, I believe that's an issue. Those are red flags right there, because that means that this is, there's something like, there's that type of affection that they're not used to, and that there's something else that's going on. There's something that's more that's going on. When they said he had his headphones on all the time, and isolation is one of the key problems that can cause, a lot of issues. And I think there should be counseling and stuff like that when kids are off at a distance, just to see where their mindsets are at. But I believe, like I said, this kid should never been released. I don't believe this kid's mentally ill. I just believe he's just pure evil. And like I said, me, a victim and a survivor from child abuse, I just find it distasteful when I see people do something so heinous and they hide under the umbrella of, oh, my childhood was the reason for this, or, oh, because I was abused, this is what happened. And basically what my message entails is, just because as someone who survived 10 years of abuse, of being locked in basements with sewer water and rats swimming around, and being beat to where I have scars in my flesh where I had to get stitched up, I turned out to be productive, and I'm not no animal, and I'm not a dark person. I'd made a decision in my life that I wasn't going to be like those people that did that to me. And I came to grips to understand that those people that abused me were sick. They were sick in the head, and they were evil. And in due time, God will deal with them. The biggest thing was my turnaround was where, when I had my children, I wanted to protect them and make sure that they never had to endure what I went through. So when people say that, their past did it to them, their childhood, did it to them, it's a lie. It's a front, because, just because people have a bad childhood doesn't mean that they can carry that for the rest of their lives. It doesn't mean that their lives are ruined. The only thing that's ruined in my life a lot of times is my self-esteem at times, and I go through a lot of depression at times. And sometimes, I might have nightmares that replay the issues that happened back then. I always wanted to be an actor, a movie actor. And, being that I endured all that with the child abuse, it just, put obstacles in my way where my self-confidence and my self-esteem was drained. I went into the Navy. I did 6 years, and I came out to be productive. I'll never be an actor, but, and it's I feel it's too late. But, I'm proud that I was able to endure what I endured, and I can be able to spread a message of hope to others and who will watch this video. Just because you go through abuse and, or you've been neglected as a child, I want to be that voice for the ones that are going through it now. Scars remind us of where we come from, but and they'll always be with us, but they don't have to predict our future. So always remember that, and the people that have been abused before, and the people that have endured abuse or rape or domestic violence or any kind, remember one thing: you're a hero, because the thing is, you were strong enough to survive, and you were strong enough to endure, and persevere and to become someone special and to be able to share your story and your message with somebody else that might not have a voice. So don't feel ashamed and don't feel bad about what happened. You just take it as that stepping stone, because look, whatever you do, there's nothing you could do to change it. We can't change what happened in the past. But what we can do is we can share our strength, we can share our hope through somebody who doesn't have a voice. And with that, that's going to show, by you helping somebody else out, will eventually make, give you that sense of healing on the inside, like it's done for me. And when you have kids,